Hey guys, Colby here. Welcome back to another video. The Emic Trump Card Fusion is well underway. We're not even halfway through, by the way, at the moment. So if you're still going through it, you should be around the 150 mark. The Dungeon Divers has just finished today. The Ice Golem tournament has just started. And I'll be showcasing my team that I started farming Ice Golem with. I immediately started farming it when it was available because I was able to farm the Dungeon Divers that was active right here. I was able to farm both of them at the same time and managed to finish the Dungeon Diver. So I did some part of it during the Dragon tournament, some part during the Champion training, and then some part finished through the Ice Golem. And if you guys remember, I did this as a tracker for the fusion. So if you are still tracking your fusion, this is a much easier way if you're comfortable with using spreadsheets. By the way, you just click here on the left hand side. If you're looking for this one, by the way, I made a video a couple days ago. There's a link in there. You make a copy for yourself and that's how you use it. So Ice Golem tournament, you need to do some of it today and then start basically farming it tomorrow a little bit more to finish it when the Dungeon Diver starts. Okay, the next Dungeon Diver starts, because these are very, very difficult. So you do a little bit, you finish the Ice Golem, and then you go on for the rest of them. But anyway, guys, you came here for this video to watch my Ice Golem team, so I might as well show you that one. This team utilizes the one and only Artak available to lots of players out there who were active, made their account during the Raid Call of the Arbiter series. We had Artak as a 7-day login champion. We're going to have another 7-day login coming soon. We have no idea what kind of kit this champion will have, but we know Artak's kit. Okay, here's my Artak, the way I have built him for this specific run. I basically only am gonna use him for this part of the game, but for other areas of the game you want to go for a different blessing. So the stats that I'll be showcasing right now are for the most end game version of strategy for Ice Golem. In general, Ice Golem is a very, very difficult dungeon. Have that in mind. So you need to be very, very tanky and quite fast. But the gear required for this one does not vary so much than other videos that you might have seen before for champions soloing dungeons. It's not a solo in terms of Artak cannot push by himself through the waves and make a comfortable time for the Ice Golem, but he is still very good in terms of surviving in the end, which is basically going to be a solo surviving at the end of the run. So I'm not going to call it a solo dungeon run for Ice Golem for the video, for the thumbnail, because I think you guys will go crazy about that. It seems some people get triggered very easily with these kind of titles, so I'll stay away from that one. Let's go with Artak. I have him at 5 stars because of the recent Path of Vengeance, whatever it was called. I actually grinded for it. You don't really need the 5-star, but it does help if you have it. The Soul Reap is what I use right now, so I can kill off the boss much quicker. Again, you don't need it. It doesn't give you that much stats that Artak can benefit from. If you really want to use him in other areas of the game, especially for the Hydra, Brimstone would be the way to go with the blessing. But even if you don't have a blessing, even if you just have the 2-star, again, Brimstone will be, I think, the ideal choice. But for the Ice Golem, Brimstone does not go on the boss, so you're kind of wasting it. But anyway, let's carry on. I'll show you guys the gear. Regeneration gear is required, I would say, for him to recover his health. As he takes so many turns, he has this crazy passive, which gives him that extra speed and resistance also, of course. And all of those stats together make him much tankier and allow him to survive for longer. A key thing about these kind of strategies where you use a champion to go in like a solo version of farming, it's not actively a solo, I'll explain why, but the key one about Ice Golem is not having War Master. Again, if you want to use Artak for other areas of the game, you gotta go with War Master, especially for Hydra. But for Artak being useful in Ice Golem, and if you want to have a comfortable team farming there, I would say remove War Master, because that can proc the boss on the Ice Golem and do that big damage based on if he also has his ads up and he ignores defense completely, and it hurts a ton. So this is the build that I went with. You get that extra protection from AoE attacks. I think this is very, very much required. You could go for the extra resistance here if you want to. Then I went down the tree, even getting the extra speed, which you will see right now for the team that I'll be running. And it's actually a 4-man team, but you can add a 5th one in there if you want to have something extra to help you go. So this is the Masteries. The skills are, of course, maxed out. You can get away with not having these maxed out on lower difficulties, and I'll explain the lower difficulties version of using Artak. But in general, you're looking for a ton of health plus some good defense. The boss only ignores defense when he procs his big AoE damage attack that happens through either War Master or just straight up damage that he gets through when the thresholds are exceeded. So make sure you don't get hurt there, but you still need the defense. So 3.6k, almost 80,000 health right there. Ideally you want to get this even higher, but even for me, my gear is not there yet in terms of regen and perception, so I was having difficulties. And resistance and accuracy is also required to be very high, especially resistance. I'm at 436 plus the live arena bonuses plus the leader aura. I'm close to 500, and then the accuracy I'm closer to 350 with the live arena bonuses. So overall you need very high stats to resist the boss. But as you go to lower difficulties, guys, remember you need lower stats, and I'll explain that. Keep stay on the video and I'll explain it in just a second. So this is the gear. You don't necessarily need to have perception, okay, but I would say regeneration is required for that big healing. If you can get away with immortal and still have that big accuracy and the speed is also pretty nice, right? I think the speed is the easiest of the stats if you want to think about farming Ice Golem and very high difficulties. The speed seems to be like the easiest of them all. By the way, I can actually show it like this on how my Ice Golem stats look. I have just a little bit of points in there, nothing too crazy, through my live arena farming. So this is the one champion. Let me show you the team, and then you'll guess the gear that they have. All right. I don't think they even need an introduction. We have Renegade for the reset. We have Ghostborn for the defense down, the unresistible defense down, and we have Seer. These 3 champions don't really require an introduction on how to use them. But if you still need one, I'll just explain that my Seer has the best blessing possible for her. She has very high damage to get through the waves. There's a ton of buffs available through Renegade with the shield set, who can also reset. She's faster than Seer, but she does do the reset on round 2. There's Ghostborn, who has a little bit of damage, but his damage does not really get used for anything. And what we want to have is basically so many buffs that Seer can actually use them up to burst through the waves. If you want to see something like that, check out other videos. I have a ton on Seer, and even Seer damage calculators, where you can actually put in exactly on how much damage you need to get through the waves. And then the 5th champion, this is a flex choice. If you need more buffs, you can go in with the champion that can give you more buffs. The 5th champion is anything that you want to have, as long as it doesn't interfere with Artak, as long as it doesn't do insane damage. Once you go into round 3 to activate the boss's unique AoE damage, then you should be okay. I mean, Artak it goes in there with the purpose of his team being dead and him being the one who solos the boss. Even Seer has her Karma Burn deactivated right at the end. So we only use her for basically the Karma Burn here and the Karma Burn here. So have that in mind. Overall, let's go. Overall, it's a good team for hard 10, but I wouldn't say it's an easy team. But I'll explain what I mean at the end on how you can use a similar team for lower difficulties, and I'll explain the stats required as well. So keep up with the video and stay tuned. All right. So here we attack. There's the AoE. Boom. Seer bursts down the wave very, very quickly, and then we'll have an Artak showcase on round 3. So here, boom, there's the defense down. That's what we want to see. We even have our food champion die. That's fine. That gives a little bit of extra speed on Artak, and then Artak starts his rotation. That's what I want to see. The shield helps a little bit with the health, and we don't want to have Seer, by the way, do her Karma Burn here, because that would have hurt so much. It would be crazy. Okay, finally my other 2 champions die, and then it's the Artak showcase where he gets those extra turns. Ideally, my Seer and Ghostborn would have died earlier, but I don't want to mess their gear around because I use them in other areas. For sure, my dragon team uses them. So here, The bad runs will be when you get a debuff, and that's like 3 or 4% with the amount of resistance that I have. So if you get a debuff like a heal reduction debuff from the ads or a defense down, you'll be in trouble. Or you get like very big crits in a row from the boss, you'll be in a difficult situation. But the most impactful, I think, is the heal reduction. And here very soon you'll see the blessing in action, which will kill off the boss, and that's what we want to see. And there it is. There we go. We kill off the boss. A minute 24. It really varies on the time in terms of how fast you can farm this. So a minute 24, a minute 10 is what I did. I think I can get this to go faster if my ghost points here die quicker, but I said I'm not going to change them, so I won't. In terms of the gear that I keep from Ice Golem, not so much gear that I keep. But let me explain what I meant for lower difficulties and how you can use this exact same setup with basically Artak surviving in the end, and then anything else that you have that can get you through wave 1 and wave 2. Anything that you have to get you through wave 1, wave 2, as long as it can get you through there and then going to wave 3 and they just die, it's fine. Artak will do the soloing. So the Artak stats are required, but I'll explain how you need the lower versions of it. So let's go back to our browser. You can use the Hell Hades stages tool if you have access to this. I'm not sure whether this is a premium feature or not, but it exists. So this can show you the stats of the different dungeons and the resistance and accuracy required. If you do not have access to this, the same thing can be accessed through the RSL helper. So RSL helper is the tool that Farbself did. He's a German content creator. If you don't know about this, definitely learn about it. It's gonna make your days so much better in raid. So when you click on any stage, so I'll click on stage 10, you see it in the background, it's gonna load up. Let me click stage 9, okay, and then go back to 10. Okay, so here you see on RSL helper the different waves that are against you in wave 1, then wave 2, and then wave 3 is the boss. So on the waves we don't really care about it, but on the boss you can see the resistance here and the accuracy here for the boss, and the ads is the same, and also the speed is 240 for the boss. So anything above that is gonna be very nice for being faster than the bosses start applying those HP burns, which those are the only debuffs that work on the boss. So 345 accuracy is required at least, and you saw how much accuracy I needed versus the 320 resistance, and then 464 resistance. So I have the resistance aura from my seer plus the resistance that I have to be able to actually resist any of them. So how do you use this for lower difficulties? Well, you guys go back. Let's say you want to farm stage 6, which is very reasonable if you're still in the hard territory of the Ice Golem. You click on stage 6, your RSL helper will show something different. Okay, so let me see if this got updated. There we go. 285 accuracy and 404 resistance. That's already much better, and the speed of the boss is at 140. So the difference is insane from stage 6 to stage 10. And guys, the difference in getting a mythical item is only 2%. So mythical on stage 6 is 3% chance, mythical on stage 10 is 5% chance. So 2% difference for having a much easier and more guaranteed runs. I would take it honestly, and not really beat down on my brain for building a team that is worthwhile for 10, honestly, especially for Ice Golem. But some people want to do it. So if you're not into the hard territory yet, you click on stage 25 or even stage 20. Let's go back to the good old days, right? With the stage 20. And again, you'll build a team. There's multiple different teams that you can build. You don't need to build the seer team. This is the team I showcased in another video where I did have seer, but I had Dark Kill there in the showcase, and he was built very similarly, basically surviving all the way to the boss and him being the solo champion. But since we have Artak here for the showcase, I just wanted to say that Artak works very well for this. Anything that can get you through to the end so that your one champion survives is gonna be okay. So stage 20, you check on RSL helper, it's gonna update. You need way less of both of the stats. So look at the boss's speed, at 90. One of the ads even has 105 speed. And then we look at the accuracy required, 225 versus 334 resistance. So much lower stats required to go twice before the boss. For the normal versions of the Ice Golem, you don't even need to worry so much about HP burn strategy. You can even use poison strategies. So if you have a poisoner instead of Artak, you can do that. There's multiple other videos by myself, by other creators. You can definitely check those out. I can't go through and link them, but if you search Ice Golem farm team for stage 20, you'll see them. Even if they're years, they were made years ago, they're still valid for this one. And it's even easier nowadays because of the blessings and the empowerments and all that, if you can get those, of course. So this is what you do, guys. If you have a champion that can get into round 3, that is what you do. You build them with these stats, with the regen set, and you can get through and make it very easy for you. So on stage 6, it's kind of the same thing. You go through, you push. Look at that. So much easier. Stage 6 apart. My seer will go next. My food champion died. It's fine. All right, and we reach the boss. We land those HP burns. You can't land anything else in terms of poisons. You can land other debuffs, but you don't really care about those. Ooh, proccing so much damage on the boss. I hope you don't get wrecked. You've got the decreased attack though. That is very crucial for surviving. So if you get resisted on that one, that's an additional problem. Look at those HP burns already. Yeah, my seer is just getting too many turns surviving here. That's the problem. Okay, finally she's dead. A problem here would be if you had like something, if you use something like a Lydia, she will revive when the boss uses his big revive AoE. She will revive, and that's gonna slow up the run. But if you don't have something like a Ghostborn here to use the seer combo, well, you can use up Lydia and be fine with that. And Lydia is used in so many different teams that is so good. So this is way slower because my team basically took so long to die. That's why it's much slower. But as long as it's consistent and it doesn't fail, I'm totally fine with it. And look at that. Even a 6-star reflex. Might keep this and roll this and maybe rework it. Hopefully I get another good piece of reflex. So guys, this was the video. This is just a showcase and explanatory on how to do the highest difficulty of the Ice Golem. For, well, basically I only do it on tournaments if I'm being honest, or whether I really want to farm reflex. Other times I just sit back and wait for the next time a tournament's out. I don't really farm Ice Golem, so I don't think of it as a priority. That's why I wanted to explain on lower difficulties, which some players might still have some issues with. As long as you get a team to push all the way to the end, your solo champion should do it. I hope I explained it fine for you guys. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. If you want to see something more specific, let me know down below in the comments. I'll see you guys soon. See ya.